There we go. Now we're back into the real full freaking swing of things. But going forward this summer, I have a few goals. I have a few goals in mind, some to be revealed later on. And that's not me saying I've got shit in the works. That's partially me thinking I got to work on some other stuff I don't even know about yet. But when it comes to the things I can kind of, let's just say can do today, I want to bring it. If you look at the TikTok account, it should just be Sam_Sulik. Maybe just Sam Sulik, no spaces. I don't know. I got it pretty early, so I got my username. But I always repost really just little TikToks that get me going. So it's called a TikTok edit. And a lot of you guys do not have TikTok, which I'm jealous. You probably maybe don't download it. You're going to spend too much time on it because it's highly addictive. But it does have one benefit, and that's that guys will get, a certain song, take a certain show or old training clips or whatever, just all sorts of shit, and they essentially just make a really short music video. Right? It's like a 30-second, maybe 15-second music video, but you're just like triple tapping your stimulus for hype is how I look at it, right? Anybody, go back in time a little bit, back when TikTok was like just for like middle school girls, like when it was called Musical.ly. There were no TikTok edits. These were just straight up anime music videos, which I've got a few that I still go back to sometimes. A lot of Baki ones, which just get me freaking amped to train. But what I mean by a triple stimulus of hype is, for one, the song itself is pretty cool, right? Assuming you watch one that is a song you like. Solid song, right? Get your heart pumping. You're gonna get after it. Second, if it's clips from a certain show that you really like, or old school training, be it a Tom Platz or a Kevin Levrone or a Dorian Yates or Jay or Ronnie or whatever, well, that's getting you amped, obviously. But then there's even one more layer, which I would just call the combination effect, because listening to these guys training or whatever clip it was from some show with the music, with whatever kind of extra editing the guy does to it, I mean, shit, it gets me freaking excited. I'll be sitting totally lounging like a punk, but if I'm sitting on my phone scrolling and I see a really hype edit, it makes me want to train. Like it makes me excited for the training session. So sometimes I kind of screw myself a little bit because I've been training in the morning, right? It's 8:30 right now. We're headed over to the gym. I'm amped. So what the hell am I supposed to do if I watch a really hype-ass edit later on today at like 4 in the afternoon? Well, the training is done for the day. It's over. There is no more. So, you kind of want to watch them at specific times, right? Like I'd say right now, I'm in a charging phase. Once I hit stop recording, I'm gonna get some music bumping, put my glasses on, throw the windows down, just get myself freaking ready for chest. So let's just say don't neglect the hype, right? I know some guys are very, not a lot. I did know one guy in college though. He was very particular about this. Cool dude. Like I really liked him. I guess why would I not like him? Whatever. But cool guy. And I'd be talking to him in the gym, just raw dogging his lifts. No headphones, no music, no nothing. He's like, man, I don't want to be distracted, but also I don't want to be reliant. I don't want to be reliant on my phone to get a badass workout. I want to be able to just spawn in totally naked, nothing extra, and get after it, right? Which I can, I like the logic there. It's sort of this, just kind of an independence, and that feels kind of cool, right? I mean, we all, that this is the headspace of that guy, I imagine. He's like, man, all these guys are fucking listening to music. I don't need that shit. I can get after it on my own, So I certainly see the appeal there. But I don't know, man. It's not too hard for me to make sure my phone's charged and I remember my headphones. I've lost a few pairs and then refound them. So now I try to keep one in my gym bag at all times, just in case I may end up forgetting a little something. Well, boom, I got the spare wireless just sitting there fully charged, waiting to blare at my eardrums. So, I can see the appeal, but I say go nuts. I guess it depends on your training. For long form. Oh my God, I'm freaking social media coded now. But for longer training sessions of cardio or ab work, things that aren't necessarily like take a few huffs and puffs and just go nuts, that's where I don't think it's as important. If I'm sitting on the treadmill, I'm not slamming, I'm not listening to Dragon Force, just shadow boxing or anything. I'm just playing Clash Royale. So for stuff like that where the stakes are lower, don't sweat it. It doesn't really matter as much. But for your real working sets, I'm coming in, what am I doing? Probably 7 sets of chest total, maybe 8, but we'll see. So I've only got 8. So the 2 minutes before each of those sets, obviously after I'm warmed up and ready and prepped and, make sure my rotator cuffs feel good and I'm, actually ready for the weight and I don't tear anything. Once I'm ready, once all my freaking, cylinders are primed, I'm heated up, I get the turbo ready, that 10-15 seconds before the set, that's where music's on, noise cancellations. Sometimes I turn it off because it makes the music louder in my ears. Well, that 10 to 15 seconds pre-training, that's where you've got to kind of get into this. It's this kind of a contradictory description, but you want a clear head, right? I don't want to be thinking about anything except for the set that I'm about to do right before I'm about to do it. But I also want to have my head just like filled with kind of energy. And it's not even words. I'm not thinking to myself any particular phrase or like a mantra or whatever. Like if somehow I could get a Neuralink implanted, which would tell, maybe read out to like a computer what words I'm thinking. Nothing tangible, nothing legible. Just kind of, transcribe effort. That would kind of be it. And then once the set's over, I've totally brought it. I can tell my chest is not going to be able to move any more weight. And maybe I've done a few nasty partials just to really kind of, make sure it's in the grave. Then you can kind of relax, take a breath, pause the music. Oh, that was a really good one. Take a second, recenter yourself, and repeat. But, I've seen guys, and it depends on the session, it depends on what you're doing. But for the most part, if you're doing a mid-set conversation, if you're hitting tricep pushdowns and you're listening to what the guy next to you is, he's telling you a story, and then you're responding back, I don't know, I just don't see it, right? I'll spend 2 hours back when I was in college, I don't know how long I spent at the rec center. Probably the longest time had to be at least 4 hours, maybe 5, probably 4. Finish the workout first, hour and a half or so, maybe do my cardio as well. And then afterward, just freaking yap, so I was actually kind of being, kind of rude, because when I'm working out, if we're having a little chit chat, it's like, all right, let me hit a set, I'll come back, that sort of deal. But when I'm done, I'm kind of distracting some of these guys. But I guess if I could boil all this down into just a little bit of a phrase, just take control of those 30 seconds pre-set. Not to mention, the set in its entirety, but, really get yourself going. Because that's kind of the only time you can do that, There is no other situation in anybody's regular kind of day-to-day life where you're sitting just like, all right, let's be fucking real, let's see how hard I can go here. It just doesn't happen, and I think that's special about the gym, that physical kind of exertion, because as smart as we're getting and as delusionally smart as we think we're getting, now that we have, basically everything available on our phone at a moment's glance, doesn't take away from the fact that you're still pretty much a caveman. We're not that much different than straight spear hunting times. So, I think there's something to be said about just being active in any kind of way. and then that just happens to overlap with getting the pump, which I really freaking like. So I think nothing else to say. Let's jump in there, get warmed up, and see what happens. I don't know if I want to go heavy, lighter, squeezing. We'll see. The warm up will kind of will reveal that for me. So let's get in there. There we go. Yeah, got some sun in the side. Now I'm really feeling fresh. So I shit. I just put up the incline bench in front of the dumbbells. You know, I'm warming up, everything. Pick up the 110s. They feel like freaking 200s. Now, I had a little bit of a lower calorie day yesterday, but shit, I didn't think it'd make me feel like that. So, those dumbbells off the table. Let's just start with cable press. And honestly, this is a very solid move. I got some flack over the last bodybuilding prep for the last 2 Arnolds I did, because almost all my chest days looked very similar. A lot of just this, you know, cable here, squeezing, holding, pressing. You know, sometimes I'd put the incline bench here and just do it like this, so it was more of a back supported movement instead of freestanding. You know, and the idea of the comment was, why only cables, bro? Or the free weights? You know, as though free weights are somehow magic in comparison to cables. I'd say it's relatively level playing ground. If somehow I got cursed, you know, like genie style, or like I didn't open the door for somebody and then the guy was actually like a witch or something, and he said, you are no longer able to use free weights for chest, I wouldn't be screwed. You know, this is pretty good. So 150, definitely a substantial amount of weight, but not a undoable amount. And I'm kind of going hand over hand here so I can get a deeper squeeze than just, you know, right here. Flies, some converging press. You know, normally you can only get to here, maybe here on a fly, and that's it, right? But you can press a little bit further than that. And I think squeeze-wise, doing so definitely adds a little something to the lift. But no more talking. Let's just get started. There we go. Oh, it's heavy. Ooh. Ooh. Yeah. Okay. Oh, shit. 2 more. Okay. Whew. Yeah, that's a good weight. No, 1 more. All right, after this, I'm not sure what's next. I know it'll be good. Ooh. Oh. Okay. Okay. Let's hit a pec deck. So we got the stack. And pec deck, I'm always trying to work on this, you know. I'm not sure if it's purely genetic or whatever, but I'm prone to this. I'm prone to rolled forward shoulders, right? I mean, I can stand like this. This feels very intentional and kind of weird. Like if I'm just sitting, I'd say this is quite natural, right? So I'm always doing this. And when it comes to pressing, that's exactly what I don't want, right? So I don't want to be sitting here hunching my front delts this far, because then I'm getting a ton of front delt activation and not as much chest. And even if I am getting a lot of chest, it's still front delt. I want my chest to overpower my front delts. So the Arsenal pec deck, one of the best ones when it comes to this particular feature, because the way that these work, I mean, I'm sure you freaking know, but this rotating point, right, where the arm actually spins around, this is pretty far backwards. Like it's basically, actually it's a little bit behind where my shoulders are gonna rest. So what that does, or I guess what it would happen if these were like 6 inches forward, which a lot of pec decks are, like a lot of the ones that you might find in like a Planet Fitness, not dogging them specifically, but those pec decks, the points of rotation is in front of your shoulders. So it kind of makes the machine want to pull your arms out a little bit. And it just makes it hard to like, you know, tuck your shoulder blades. So this one feels really good. And I'm just extra spoiled to have this in the freaking personal gym. But let's go nuts. Probably, I don't know, 10 or 15 good solid reps. And I'm burning out with partials. Okay. Let's do a cable fly instead. That felt good, but not 2 sets good. So these will be decline-ish, right? So what I mean by that is I'm not purely trying to work my lower pecs. I want to squeeze the entire thing, but I'm not going in this front of body motion. I'm kind of going downward here, right? But at the bottom, I'm not pushing down. Like this isn't the force of a dip, right? Like a dip, basically all lower chest, or a really declined press because you're just pushing straight down. But with these flies, I get a good lower pec stretch, which I think, you know, as much as I'm an inclined fan and I want my upper chest to grow and develop and, you know, peak higher over my collarbones than my lower chest, there's some stuff going on down here that you don't want to miss out on. Like if you've ever seen Ronnie Coleman hit a front lat spread, I might be able to do it later, but not to the same degree. But or Arnold especially, right? He's got this lower pec insertion that isn't like your main chest. Like it's way down here in the corner. And I think you're missing out on that if you're not hitting something with a good decline stretch. Or like negative, you know what I'm saying. But this is light. I'm gonna hit a light squeezing one, maybe superset with some pressing. And then we'll go from here. Let me pick a good song. There you go, a little heavier than that. Oh. One more. All right. All right. Two. Oh. Okay. All right. I'm feeling too pumped not to bust out a shirtless press. I think this might be the first. I mean, usually I'm always thinking pump check after the lift, but you look super cool when you do incline press in front of the mirror. So let me get a good TikTok edit going and go crazy. All right. All right. Yeah. Okay. One more. Oh. Then we get posed out. All right. Let me make sure I'm not only in focus, but also in the freakiest lighting spot possible. Yeah, looks like we're cooking now. So that was good. And even though I didn't do 4-plate Smith or 150 pound incline dumbbell, I tell you something, still quite the pump indeed. So let's see how we're looking. Oh my goodness. All right, nothing else to say. Let's get in the car. All right, look alive. Look freaking live. Middle of June. Before we know it, 4th of July is gonna happen. Everybody's gonna record a 20-minute video of fireworks that they'll never watch again. And then before we know it, it's gonna be August. and it's going to be September, and then holy shit, it's going to snow for the first time in October, which is kind of weird, but whatever. Halloween's going to come around, everybody's going to start eating candy, and then holiday season. You know how many people lock out during holiday season? I mean, let's be real. I said this a couple days ago. I'm going to repeat it because I like it. But I look at the year, at least for probably most, and I feel like a lot of people would probably agree with this, but it's very akin to a week. I think it is very much the same. Starting on Monday, ending on Sunday, January, February. Let's get real, man. New year, new me in some sort of way. I feel like this year is actually kind of weird. There wasn't as big of a gym spike as I would have expected, which maybe is just because everybody who wants to be in the gym kind of already is, because it's getting so, I don't want to say mainstream, because it's not a trend. I think everybody should be working out, but I think we're getting close to a good carrying capacity, but obviously more is better. But still, right, you start off hard, and summer kind of rolls around. That's us right now. I'd say we're, January, February, March, April, May, June. Okay, yeah, halfway through. I mean, halfway through the week. It's not Wednesday. I think that's really Thursday. So, what does that tell me? People are getting ramped up. I mean, even the summertime itself often gets kind of thought of as, well, you know what? It's summertime, man. Let's chill. Come on, dude. What are you talking about? This is going to be this summer. That's more of like a high school logic. But I remember saying that even back when I was in high school. It's like, dude, this summer is going to be nuts. I don't know. I don't remember doing anything crazy nuts. All I really remember was, I don't know. Me and Mark, we got this one raft that we would take out to the lake sometimes and kind of park it out a couple 100 feet, throw down a dumbbell as like an anchor. We'd kind of have a crew out there. But, it's, that's not the stuff I remember. And it's definitely not the stuff I'm benefiting from now, But either way, I'd say mid-June. Mid-June is Thursday. Mid-June is a Thursday, right? The week's almost over. All right, let me just coast through this Thursday. Oh, Friday. I'd say Friday is 4th of July. 4th of July onward is Friday. And then beyond that, getting into, well, it's kind of, maybe it's not exactly a linear pattern, but by the time Thanksgiving, Halloween kind of rolls around, I mean, shit, let's be real. Diets are thrown out the window. It's cold. Everybody's bundling up. They're wearing jackets and pants. Nobody's actually necessarily as concerned body fat percentage-wise, because it's like, dude, come on. It's winter. I'm not talking about those who hit like a winter bulk or anything. But what was I even about to say? So I'm distracting myself. I got to get gas. But it's, it's just kind of a lockout season. So I guess the point I'm trying to get at is don't fall for it. Don't catch yourself in this, you know what? I said I was going to lock in this year. It's already June. It's going to be July. Screw it. Save it for the next year. All right? I think it happens far too often. And, it's just because we've got this kind of mental training of thinking of years and time as these loops rather than just a continuous flow, right? What is different about right now than January? Right? What's different about right now than, let's say I'd say late August, October. I think November is when I started to see a big trend of like winter lock-in style posts. But what's really different? Let's be real. You're waking up the same. You get the same, let's just say, availability of time to jump into the gym and get after it. So it's like, why catch yourself? And if you've been locked in for a while, and all I mean by that is if you've gone to the same gym consistently for years, maybe not the same one, even if you move, whatever, you start to see this pattern. So just try not to fall for it, right? Try to remove yourself from this ebb and flow of motivation and like consistency, because then you just get to watch, which is kind of strange because you're almost watching from the inside out rather than the outside in, because there's the characters who just kind of show up and get into it, And then there's the ones who stick to it, stay with it. And after a while, I think you build up a certain amount of momentum where it's just not even, it doesn't become a challenge. It's just what you do. It's fun. Like I just saw a video of a guy on TikTok scrolling. I'm not going to say his name specifically, but he just goes, dude, I don't like how the gym feels, man. I like going out to dinner. I like eating canes. I like eating candy. Like that's verbatim. What does that sound like? I mean, that kind of sounds like me, but I don't know. Terrible. So all I'm saying is don't lose your motivation. Don't lose your momentum just because it's getting warmer and nice out. And there's a little bit more time for just straight leisure. You want to be the warrior in the garden, not the gardener in the war, if you feel me. Well, I'm going to gas up, get some food in my system. It's pretty cloudy, but I think I'm going to try to get some sun exposure. My skin has been clearing up really good. Now, I think a lot of that is just to do with staying in the deficit. Like for me, when I start eating more food, I think it just, I can't say specifically what causes it, but my sebaceous glands, that's the stuff that actually makes your skin produce oil, they just get going crazy. But either way, I'll see you tomorrow.